This is a great question. In case you didn't read it, let me say it again. How can we maintain and balance happiness inside and outside? This is really thought-provoking. We have to define a few things within this question, of course. Inside and outside. I'm assuming that inside doesn't mean inside a house and outside a house. I'm assuming inside us and outside us. How can we maintain and balance happiness inside and outside? With this inside-outside split, therefore, we have effectively divided the world into two. Everything that is me and everything that is not me. Very simple division of the world. Everything fits into this division. One bit is me, and the other bit is everything but me. So I have happiness within me, and we talked about how happiness is a condition of the mind. It's an emotion within what's known as a subtle body. The body is said to have a physical aspect that you see and touch, and through all of our senses coming through the physical aspect into a subtle aspect of our body, which is intangible. That's why it's called subtle. It's imperceptible to our senses. You cannot touch it, we cannot taste it, hear it, so forth. And in this subtle body, we have the subtle items such as thought, emotions, memory. Now we know that they exist, that's why we can classify them as being part of the subtle body. And we can see their effect. If somebody's angry, you can see the effect, but you'll see the effect on their physical body, because you cannot go inside their mind and read the anger directly, or sadness, or any other emotion. In fact, you can't read their memory directly. It's imperceptible. So it's a subtle body. So happiness is within the subtle body. That's where it is within us. Outside of us, in the not me section of the world, are all the objects of the world. Those objects of the world are both sentient, they're alive, conscious, or they're insentient. Either natural, like stones, or stones and rocks, or unnatural, man-made, such as a table or a motor car. So the sentient beings are said to be alive beings because they have a subtle body. In fact, that's the definition of something that is alive, something that has a subtle body. And this subtle body is in all living things, whether it's other humans, animals, insects, plants. They all have it to a greater or lesser degree. The greater the quality of the subtle body, the greater are the aspects that it can produce, such as memory, thought, analysis, intellect, emotions, and so forth. But every living thing has a subtle body, and all subtle bodies have subtle effects within them. So, it's, of course, if we have objects in the world and they're living things, then they too have happiness and sorrow. And that's happening within them. Here's the thing. We are not responsible, as I am not responsible for the happiness that is in somebody else's mind. You may find that to be very strange. You may spend your entire life trying to make people happy. Yes, I didn't say that we shouldn't try and make people happy. But the happiness that they feel within their own mind. It's impossible for you to think that way. It's impossible for you to be happy for them. You can do everything that is possible to create the environment in which they should be happy, but whether they are happy or not is not your responsibility. In fact, your responsibility lies at every stage in performing the action that is the best way forward at the current time. The ethical path forward. The way I remember it is that your next step should be the path of least harm. You can't possibly say that what you're going to do is going to be harmless. It must be, according to your opinion right now, with everything that you have at your disposal, your next statement of work, your next action should be the path of least harm. Whether that results in happiness or not in others is not your responsibility. It's their responsibility, because it's happening in their subtle body, within their mind. So, to be happy in oneself is fine. To see other people being happy is joyous. We can create an environment that is the path of least harm, so that people have the opportunity to be happy, but only if they so wish. So, trying to balance happiness within myself and within other people outside of myself is not my responsibility. My responsibility is merely to perform the right thing, the ethical thing. So in one sense, this question, that's why it's so very thought-provoking, is that if you treat the world as myself and not myself, me and everything else but me, then the happiness that is within me is self-generated. It doesn't come from the outside world, as we've said before. It's not in an outside object. If it was, everybody will rush towards that same object. It's not there. It's within us. Now, if we look at this question from a perspective of the individual, just the self, where you're looking at yourself and thinking that I'm happy within me, should I be projecting this happiness for others? Then you're in a slightly different situation. You now have to define where yourself is. And we can't go into it in a short video, so we'll do it on a future occasion. But imagine that this room has got space inside it. You can see that space clearly. And we can call it the room space. Okay? And there's space outside of this room. Clearly, this room is built, when this house was built, this room was built within a space. And then within the room became the room space. Let's say that this room represents my body, and this space in here is what I would call me, awareness. I'm in my own body. This is wonderful. And you are watching this video, perhaps in your own room, your own space. Now I say to you, when the walls of this room falls down, where does the room space go? Is the room space affected by the wall? So we have space inside the room, we have space outside the room. And the next logical way to think about it is that the space is not in the room, but the room is in space. There was a space, there's a space everywhere, and in the everywhere space are rooms, are houses and rooms. This room here and the room that you're sitting in. So rooms are in space. There's only one space. It's all-pervading. It's everywhere. Planets are in space. The sun and moon are in space. Rooms are in space. And just because we have suddenly surrounded a bit of all-pervading space by a set of walls, we call it my room space, your room space. If the space can be considered really to be us, our awareness, then it's not that the awareness is within us, but that our physical body is within awareness. We'll develop this in other videos as questions come in. But it means that the happiness that we feel is not restricted to our body. Because the awareness looks at the happiness that's in our subtle body, and the awareness looks at the happiness that is in another subtle body. It illumines it. It knows about it. The happiness is within that subtle body, but the illumination is constant, which means that you are not happy. It's your body and mind that is happy. You are merely the awareness of the happiness, just as you are the awareness of happiness in every other object. You are the constant whole. Happiness just happens to coagulate in the subtle minds, the subtle bodies of all living beings. So, is there now a happiness inside and outside? No. Because there is no inside and outside for you. You are both the space in the room and the space outside the room. The room, your body, exists within you and not the other way around. Happiness is something that is witnessed by you, that is illuminated, made known by your light. Happiness itself is not you. Other people's happiness is not you. But you being one, illumine that happiness also. Tricky subject, but with a number of videos and a few more questions, I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of it. Thank you for asking the question.